How's it going? I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Good. What do you think of the on the other side of the ball, the new wide receiver?
Just game planning against them in the past. Emmanuel is a handful. Great route runner, tremendous speed, great hands, violent at the catch point. So, and I guess he's really smart too. So it's kind of been seamless for him. So it's hopefully I get a chance to be a fan this weekend and watch him. But
Scuttlebutt that he's smart. He's picking stuff up.
yeah, it's he's just talking to Coach Walker. Seems like there's a lot of carryover from what they were doing in Denver. So he's picking it up pretty quick. But don't take my word for it. You got to go talk to those guys then.
Robert, what kind of development have you seen from Bosa as a run defender?
You know what? He's getting a lot better from a run defense perspective. He's setting edges. He's collapsing. If he's on the open side, he's really doing a good job collapsing that B gap to make sure that there's nothing there on flex side run game. And when he gets his opportunity on the tight end, he's winning those one-on-ones also and constricting the C gap while he can still maintain his D gap. So he's getting better. Obviously, he still has a ways to go in all of that, but he is getting better. He's been a pleasant surprise.
In addition to being healthy, has that part of his game made it harder to take him off the field?
You know what? It's always going to be hard to take any of those guys off the field, but knock on wood, we got a pretty good rotation going, and Chris Kasarik does a great job rotating those guys and making sure that they're all fresh so they can give their just 100% effort on every play instead of trying to save their energy for the next play,
Also missed a lot of practice time earlier in the season. How much has he benefited from practicing the past few weeks?
To me, practice is always beneficial, for him to get those practice reps so he can feel things, so he can see how to play different blocking combinations. It doesn't matter. Anytime you can work your craft, just like D Ford, he's starting to pick up steam and he's starting to look really, really good in practice, and it's showing up in the game. So to me, practice is invaluable, but so for him to get as many practice reps as he can will always help him.
Why did you guys make the decision to move on from Eric Reid when you did, when it seemed like he was playing well?
For Eric Reid, you know what? That's tough decisions are always made. I'm not always part of those. That'd probably be more of a question for John and Kyle. Just for me speaking as person who got to coach him, he was tremendous versatility, very, very smart. Loved having him around. Tremendous leader. Can't say enough good things about him. But sometimes in this league, you end up with whatever decisions have to be made. So,
how difficult is it to force a player to switch positions in a contract year when you know probably what he's going through just in his career at that particular point with his free agency limit?
That part speaks more to the tremendous leadership of Eric, to be honest with you. For him to do that, we've always had the philosophy here to play our 11 best. And Eric, obviously, 2 years ago was by far one of our 11 best players. He was coming off an injury, and our safeties were also playing well, and we were short at linebacker. And he was the only one that had the versatility to be able to do that, and he still does. He can still go in there in the box and play linebacker, can play safety, he can play a variety of different positions, which is why he's still in the league, and he's smart enough to be able to handle all that information. So looking at him, is to move him, very hard for the player, but at the same time, I think it gave him a chance to show how versatile he was, and that's why he's still in the league. He's tremendously smart and versatile. So,
what makes Christian McCaffrey so difficult to defend and game plan for?
He's not your typical scat back that you can blow on and he'll fall. He runs through arm tackles. He'll make you miss. He'll run right through you. He'll outrun you. He's tremendous with the ball in his hands. He can catch it. He's got tremendous vision as a runner. If you're out of your gap just an inch, he'll find it. And he's also great in protection too, from a pass protection standpoint. So you can't book him for anything because he can do everything, and that's really what makes it hard. You can line up in the slot and run routes. I mean, he's good.
In terms of whether to use nickel or base, whether to match up with a safety or linebacker or a corner, I mean, are those tough decisions with him?
Big time. He's a big time matchup issue, and it's our job to try to find the best ways to make sure that he's. Now they also do got other players. The quarterback's playing really well. Olsen's obviously a really good tight end still, and Samuel at receiver and a couple other guys. But yeah, he's definitely the workhorse. He's pretty good.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen, he's accurate. He's very decisive on where to go with the football, which he understands coverages. He understands the offense and what they're asking of him because and you can see it because he's not throwing interceptions. And it's not like people are dropping interceptions. I mean, he's putting the ball where it needs to go. He's on time with it. And so he's got full command of the huddle. And so he's doing a really, really nice job commanding the offense, getting the ball where it needs to go, using his checkdowns. And he's actually got more scramble ability than you'd think looking at him. So.
Back to that first game of 2017, back to McCaffrey. Without having seen him in a regular season NFL game, can you kind of remember what you thought of him then and now with 2.5 seasons under his belt? How's he different than what you thought you would be getting for that first
I
game?
remember him vividly. In our first year, felt like he was a scat back, change of pace. We had a plan for him. Didn't think we felt like he'd get his touches, but didn't think he'd hurt us. He is a more complete back, a very powerful runner, where he can break tackles, where he's the full package. He's obviously had a heck of a meal plan and a heck of a weightlifting program because he is a very, very complete back, and so there's no weakness in his football game.
There's probably not a ton of those guys out there, him, Barkley, some of those guys. But when you go out and get a guy like Kwon Alexander in the offseason, I know you don't see those guys a lot, but
Yeah.
is that in the back of your mind, like there are backs coming like this?
It always is. We've always said that the running back has outpaced the evolution of the linebacker. And to us, ever since 2011, we felt like we've gotten ahead of the chains in terms of finding linebackers that can keep up with the backs that are being used as receivers, basically. So we've always had Kwon Alexander, Fred Warner type linebackers in our systems. When you go back, you had Telvin Smith, KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, Deion Jones at Atlanta, Miles Jack now at Jacksonville, but then obviously the three-headed monster they have over in Dallas. But for us, we're mainly nickel defense. Can we go dime? Absolutely, but you always want your nickel being your linebacker being able to handle the back, so you don't feel like there's as big a mismatch as there would normally be if you were playing a different type of a system.
How beneficial is it having Kwon in that nickel system? Where do you feel like there's that much of a let off with the way he's been able to tackle in the open field, especially against the run game?
Give me that question one more time. I'm sorry.
With the way you've increased your nickel usage, do you feel like having Kwon gives you sort of additional flexibility in the way he's been able to tackle?
For sure. His speed, he doesn't, there's no speed drop off. I mean, the guy's incredibly fast, and his tackling has been a lot better since he got here. D'Amico Ryans does a great job teaching tackling fundamentals and all that stuff. So he's been working on it, and he does a really good job. But anytime you can keep a bigger body in there for the run, and you don't have to get small because you're afraid of a running back, it's always beneficial. And so having Fred and Kwon Alexander in there always will give you that flexibility where you're not as nervous to play your coverages because they have such of a dynamic back like McCaffrey.
Right now, you guys have the #1 passing defense in the league in yards allowed per game. Big part of that has been, two safeties you guys have back there, Jimmy Ward, Jaquowski Tart. Considering they hadn't played a whole lot together until this season, right? They were former high school teammates. How much of that chemistry between the two kind of give you confidence in putting them back there together? And how do you think they've been able to kind of play off of each other this season so far?
With Tart and Jimmy, I'm not sure that the history. Obviously, I know that high school teammates are very close. Funny way of communicating with one another. But when it comes to the defense and all that, they do a really good job playing off one another. They can speak to each other without speaking, and it doesn't matter who's back there. You've got to get to that point, and it's easier to get to that point when you understand football and you're smart. And those two are very, very smart, and they both understand football, and it doesn't hurt that they're also very athletic and fast. So it just all around for those two guys, and really anyone playing that position, the faster you can get yourself in sync with one another so you guys can play off one another with regard to disguise, who's playing what position, because they are interchanging every snap. It just helps those guys. It really helps the defense because you can actually like I said, with disguises and all that stuff. So they do a good job, both of them, and the way they can communicate with each other is pretty good.
What have you learned about Emmanuel Mosley in these last 3 games now that he's had all this playing time?
The same thing I said when we were going into that Cleveland game. The young man is fearless. He'll go tackle. He'll compete. The game's not too big for him. He understands the defense. He knows what's coming. He knows the techniques to play. So he's got a fearless mindset. He's got a short memory, and eventually he's going to get tested again, and he'll always come right back. So he's doing exactly what we all thought he'd do.
Is the door open for him to stay in the starting lineup even when Akello is unfit?
We haven't crossed that one yet. Akello had been playing so well. It's that's a tough question, but I would, you never have the philosophy that an injury will put you on the bench. So it's, but Akello, he's been working, trying to get healthy, and when he's ready to go, he's going to be ready to go. So.
What has the added depth on the line this year allowed you to do differently relative to past seasons?
From a coverage standpoint, it's really the same. Obviously, Joe Woods has come in and he's done a fantastic job with technique and honing in on alignments and making sure that those guys are really clean with what they're being asked to do. But the front has really allowed us, with the pass rush, has allowed us to focus more on the things that we feel like we're going to get. Like I don't want to say it's more predictable, but there's certain route concepts that teams can't run because those guys are coming, and it's just you can't. Not that you can, obviously you can, but the deeper developing concepts, the long developing concepts that we got a year ago are not showing up as much. But at the same time, our guys are so disciplined and they're so used to what can happen to them after 3 years of playing 3 deep that they have a good feel for coverage. So they've done a great job, the players have, in terms of tying themselves to the rush, but at the same time not losing connection with all the different issues that can arise with the way offenses attack us.
Pretty good job forcing fumbles. This quarterback you're going to face fumbled a lot his first 2 starts, but not as much the last 2. Is there something that he did differently the last 2 games?
It's for a quarterback, obviously when it starts up front, they got to protect him, but at the same time, holding the ball high. Some of his fumbles, to be honest with you, in those first 2 games looked a little unlucky. But I don't know if it's anything he's done. I'm sure he's had to have done something, but just from an outsider looking in, it looked like some of his fumbles early on were a little bit unlucky, to be honest with you.
Cam Newton was the identity of their offense for years. What do you see as the identity of their offense now, and what are the hallmarks of a Norv Turner scheme?
Norv Turner, he obviously run first. I think McCaffrey touches the ball 29 times a game since Cam's been hurt, whether it's through the pass game or run game. So he's always been a dominant run first oriented coordinator. Always respect for those, and but it's it. It's run game, take shots, play their game, and got to make the plays that he's going to count on those guys when they've got an explosive in the waiting. They're going to count on those guys to make that play. So he's always had that same deliberate mentality, to me anyway.
How much easier does it make your job when you don't have to dial up blitzes and you can still be effective with just rushing 4 and playing the other 7 in coverage?
It always makes it easier, right? But you still have to be able to protect those 4. I think the coaching staff does a great job every week coming up with a scheme to make sure that the offensive line, quarterback, the running back, tight end can't just tee off on our 4 D linemen. We've got to always be cognizant of the fact that we still have to be able to bring pressure, which we have. We still have to be able to, and from all different directions, just so teams can't sit there and chip our ends and pay all the attention they can to the 2 ends and the 2 interior guys. They still have to account for the 2 backers, the safety, and the nickel. And when they have to account for those guys, it still creates space for the defensive line. So it does make it easier, but at the same time, on us to make sure that there's enough balance always to make sure they're accounting for everybody and not just those 4.
Is it particularly important to be able to just rush 4 when you're going against a running back who's as dynamic as McCaffrey?
Not necessarily. You've got to change. You've got to do different things with regards to him. Not always the main focal point, but yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be the case.
All right.
All right. Okay.